it's called bases 1, 2, 3, 4, and all this, and it has to do with underground base military bases and the experiences people have had on these bases. So Tammy and I were going to talk about the plan was to talk about alternate universe World War II reprocessed Nazis in recent films and books, like Quentin Tarantino's *Inglourious Bastards*, which changes history. It's a whole different, it's an alternate universe sort of thing. And there's been a couple books out in Europe from France that do that, really big books that have won a bunch of awards and are popular. And some other movies like Iron Sky and Nazis at the Center of the Earth. So we were going to explore, I guess we'll do that next week, but explore the why are reprocessed alternate universe Nazis so popular. And it's not just recent. I mean, I know there's a series of books of alternate universe, had the Germans won World War II, what would happen, which is also the theme of a Philip K. Dick novel called The Man in the High Castle, where Japan and Germany split the U.S. up in two sections. Excuse me. My voice seems to be going. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm calling from Tijuana this time. Seems like every show I'm in a different city. My first show I was in Portland. The next show I was in Sedona. That was last week. Now I'm in Tijuana. One of these days I'll get back to Los Angeles and actually do a show from Los Angeles, which I think I should be able to do next week. But I'm here in Tijuana, not working as a journalist at the moment. I have a 1-year-old daughter down here, and I need to take her to the doctor for some tests. She has some kind of growth under her armpit. It's like a little round ball under the skin. So we don't know what it is. I checked online, and it could be a cyst, which they can cure with just some antibiotics, or it could be an infected lymph node, in which case she would need surgery, and I'll take her to the United States for that. Or it could be an alien implant. I'm sure, aliens have been interested in me, and I'm sure they're interested in her, since they do these things by bloodline. Anyway, another topic Tammy and I were going to explore, which I think I want to do this time today, is personal paranormal experiences. So if anyone wants to call in and talk about their paranormal experiences, that would be great. And I'm going to talk about mine. And are you still there, Angela? I don't even know if I'm on the air. Hang on, people. I'm going to check to see if I'm on the air, or if I'm just talking to Winn-Dixie. Oh, I am on the air. Okay, I am on the air. How wonderful. I just don't know how I'm going to answer calls if they come in. But I'll figure it out. Let's see. Let's talk about paranormal experiences. I want to talk about the between 1996 and 97. I had a 9-month period of just a whole bunch of paranormal things. In fact, they were happening every day. And it got to be, if it didn't happen for 1 or 2 days, the normalcy was kind of weird. And I kind of just, I would be, where's the paranormal? But it had nothing to do with, not too much with me, essentially, but this woman I was dating. And she was married, but then she left her husband for me. But she was an abductee, had been since she was a young girl. And she had hybrid children, all that stuff. So me being around her, I happened, since I was there, and these guys came along to abduct her, I had some experiences too. But it wasn't just, it started diving into that realm of high weirdness, where people who see UFOs and get abducted a lot of other weird stuff starts happening around them. I mean, there was Men in Black, there was ghosts, there was oh, this the most weird thing is I was calling myself on the phone. I kept getting, but all I was saying was hello, hello. I was hello. That's all my voice kept saying, and it sounded like he or I was at a phone booth, and I just kind of instinctively knew it was me. But I don't know if I was like a split me, an alternate universe me, or me from the future. I should have known right now that if I could go back to 1997, I would call myself and tell myself, "Hey, don't do the things you're going to do to mess up your life." But so no one, of course, I told people this, and no one would believe me, and naturally. But one night, I was with this woman I was dating, the abductee. Her phone turned on at 5 o'clock in the morning. Not the phone. There was no ring, but her answering machine turned on, but not the tape. And my voice started coming out from it, saying hello, 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 and did that. And we were both awake, and I turned to her and I said, "Was that me who just called?" And she's like, "Yeah." So then I had a witness, and I've never figured that out yet. I've had a couple of psychics tell me that uh, I did get split in half, like half my soul went off to some adventure out in the cosmos, and it wanted to know if I wanted to come with them or come back and be whole. And I still don't know today if I've become whole. I think half of me is still out there somewhere doing something. So there was that, and there was all kinds of sightings of UFOs, from giant black triangles, orbs, and ships, and so there was when we were out in Borrego Springs. I used to, and I still do, spend a lot of time out in Borrego Springs, which is the desert area. It's over by the Salton Sea and Indio and all that. Great place, and I I couldn't sleep, so I was driving around. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning, sipping on a bottle of vodka, and uh, this black triangle flew over me, and the car just stopped. It wouldn't work for a couple of minutes, and I saw the triangle going towards the cabin we had out there, and I just knew they were going to go get her. So when the car started up again, I drove back to the cabin really fast. It was a couple miles, and when I got there, and I should note that what I'm about to tell you is I didn't immediately remember it. A couple months went by, and I started having memories and dreams. So I went to see a hypnotherapist who the San Diego MUFON people had recommended to me, that he did a lot of regressions of people with experiences. So this is how I started remembering this. Anyway, so I drove right back to the cabin, and outside the cabin, there's like, I don't know, there's 4 or 5 of these aliens, and they wouldn't let me in. And these were the tall grays, and they had robes on, and they were kind of like ghostly, like, I could see through them. They weren't quite real or quite solid, but they wouldn't let me in to my girlfriend. And I started getting pissed off. I was like, "What are you doing to her? What are you doing to her?" And they inserted into my mind an image of her with some of her hybrid children, telling me that the hybrid children needed some time with their biological mother for that emotional development. So there I am, standing out there with, I can't remember, it's 4 or 5, but I'm standing out there with these tall gray aliens in robes, out in it's 2 o'clock in the morning in the desert. And so I started asking them questions. I'm like, who are you guys? Where are you from? And stuff like that. And the only thing they would answer to me is, "You wouldn't understand." I was like, "Who are you guys?" "You wouldn't understand." "Where are you from?" "You wouldn't understand." "What's going on?" "You wouldn't understand." So that really started pissing me off. I was getting mad. I said, "How do you know I wouldn't understand? Try me. Give me an answer. Maybe I will understand. I'll prove to you aliens that humans can understand your metaphysical, pataphysical, whatever. And when they didn't answer me, and this is the sort of thing, Whitley Strieber has said these beings are like that, cryptic and sometimes not cooperative. So that was one main memory. And in conjunction with the name of my show here, The Art of Dreaming, on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, I had a lot of strange dreams too, and the alien dreams. The one in particular that was really odd was I was dreaming that I was a soldier in a Jeep, and it was the past. It was like 1950, 1940 or something like that. And we're out in the desert, and we were driving towards a crash site, a UFO. I don't know if it was Roswell or whatever, but we were. I was a soldier in this team to go retrieve the crash and any aliens. So we're getting there, and I see in the distance several dead aliens on the ground from the crash, and standing by one of the bodies was the ghost of an alien. It was white and transparent. It was standing next to its body. And it turned to look at me and was staring straight at me. And I kept thinking, don't jump in my body. Please don't jump in my body. And it rushed towards me and jumped in my body. And when that happened, I woke up, just literally leapt out of bed, and my entire body was electrified. I was vibrating at a quick rate. And this lasted for like 5 minutes. And I still don't understand what that dream entailed, if it was real. I mean, if it was the 1950s, I was born in 1966. I mean, it could have been a past life memory, but I think my last life I was in the military, but I've always assumed I was in Vietnam or something like that, or early Vietnam, or I don't know. It was kind of strange. So, and a lot of these things would happen out there in the desert, and the aliens seem to like the desert. And the last time I encountered them, we were out there, and I had this dream. I saw this alien face, your typical gray alien with the big eyes, and it was moving away from me the way a camera would pull out, like you see in a film or TV. And it was going off, and it was saying goodbye. And I was like, wait, don't go. And since then, I haven't had an encounter with them. I've had some experiences with other aliens, like the Pleiadians and the Mantis guys and stuff, but as those particular ones, and what's strange is that I missed them, even though at the time it was kind of irritating and at times kind of frightening. I started really missing the paranormal in my life, because you go 9 months of having weird stuff, encounters and things happen almost every day. You start getting used to it, and I started feeling, I don't want to go back to a normal mundane life. I want this stuff to keep happening. Now I still have it, the occasional paranormal experience, but only like once or twice a year. Certainly not as much as back then. But one of the downsides of it is when it first started happening, I felt I was always being watched, and this is, I later read up on it, and of course listening to Art Bell back then, other people's stories, this is pretty typical, and it happened with Whitley Strieber too, in his book Communion, that you start getting really paranoid. You think you're always being watched, in which you are. You start locking the doors and closing the curtains and just being basically paranoid. And then so naturally I started thinking, well, am I going nuts or what's going on? But eventually you get used to it. You just integrate it into your life and realize that however you're being observed, it's not malicious. At least not in my case. Certainly a lot of people, especially women, find the constant presence of these beings in their lives to be malicious, especially if they're being used as incubators for hybrid babies and tests and other matters like that. So that one, in fact, I remember one time I have a little slit in the window. Uh, the moon was peeking through, and I saw the moon out of the corner of my eye, and I thought it was one of them looking on me, and I jumped and screamed. And that's when I realized, oh, wait a minute, this is getting ridiculous. So there was that, and I sometimes every once in a while, maybe since then, maybe a couple of times, I've kind of felt their presence. I haven't seen them, but I kind of felt like they were checking in. And it's a completely different feeling and vibration experience than, say, coming in contact with a Pleiadian, which isn't their names. They're not called Pleiadians or Plejarns. That's not what they call themselves. In fact, they really have no name. They communicate telepathically, and it's like a symbol, almost like a crop circle, as a form of labeling for who they are. But we just call them. They refer to themselves as Pleiadians or Plejarns, just as a point of reference. In fact, when Billy Meyer was started having contact with them, they told him that only he was going to call them Pleiadians, or they only use that term with him. This way, if other people down the line would claim that they were in contact with quote unquote Pleiadians, he would know that they're lying, because they wouldn't tell anyone else that's what their name was. And that's the same with me. I know where they're from, and I know who they are, but they don't say, "Oh, we are the Pleiadians." Like you see a lot of people who allegedly channel Pleiadians or fly around with them. So anyway, with them, these Pleiadians, they're the tall Aryan blonde supermodel types. It's a completely different feeling and experience than with the Greys. See what else. So I wish I knew how, if someone was calling in, how I would know. A Mad Painter, are you out there? Nighthawk? Anyway, I'm still on. I've got a pile of books next to me. I always read 3 or 4 books at the same time, probably my ADD. But these are all interesting books. I've got, I'm rereading Preston Nichols' The Montauk Project, Experiments in Time. I read it 10 or 12 years ago, and I'm going to come back to it. I don't know what to make of this stuff. I mean, it starts off plausible and starts getting weirder and weirder down the line. In fact, his continued further books start to get even stranger. Like the second book was Montauk Synchronicities, and his connections with Aleister Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons, all involved in the Montauk Project, and even that Mark Hamill secretly produced the Philadelphia Experiment movie because his grandfather had been on the ship. And hello?
Hello, how are you?
Hey.
This is SJ. I wanted to do a phone-in check with you so that you know that the phone lines are working.
Actually, yeah, I just got back, and I have to tell you that, I've been kind of tending to my guest. However, this call is on my
server.
Yeah,
connection.
So what I'd like to do is hang up so you can receive the calls, because I don't know if anybody else had called. I just literally walked back in the room and saw that there was a phone call coming in. So
Okay.
you know what I'm going to do, Michael? I'm going to send you a contact right now, which will be the auto server. Hold on.
I have the auto server, but every time I try to call it, it doesn't pick up.
Okay, well, if I hang up, then you can call in. So what I think I'll do is come back at the 30 break in 10 minutes, let you guys do your thing for a minute, and then I'll hang up right when the break comes on, and then all you need to do is call it right back.
Okay.
All right, we'll give it a try. So I'll be back in like 9 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, bye. All right.
So
many things are so.
Yeah.
One of the questions, Sean, it's a pleasure to have you on the network. I've really enjoyed your previous work for, you've been doing this for quite a while now, eh?
I don't think he's on.
Oh, he's upstairs. Who is this?
This is Mike Hemmingson.
Would you repeat that?
Mike Hemmingson.
Michael, how are you?
Yeah, this is
my show. I have
spoken
with you before.
Yes.
Well, your sound and audio is good. Your phone-in works. I'll let you continue with your subject. I just wanted to call and establish the possibility of others to call in.
Okay, well, anyone else wants to call in, wait until after the break, and I have control of the server, because right now I'm on Angela's link.
Well, this is typical for early days with each host as they sort through the mechanisms, but it's no big deal. We really enjoy the fact that you're willing to make the effort.
My co-host is in New Orleans working on her film.
I wanted to... Excuse me.
Yeah, well... Oh, no, I was just saying she's in New Orleans doing stuff for her next film, so she couldn't make it. And
well, it was really a delight to have an inside view that intimate of the film industry.
Yeah.
And her experience is certainly, what do you call it when someone is accomplished at what they do? She's a journeyman in every respect in terms of the trades. She's certainly got a professional, what do we call her? Curriculum vitae? No. Anyhow, great credentials. It was great to listen to her. I'll be waiting for her to show up the next time around.
Yeah. She's done almost all of it. Producing, directing, writing, acting, line producing,
absolutely,
production assistant. So yeah.
I was impressed. I've worked with amateur theater and university theaters, and do a lot of prop work up here for the independents in Vancouver. So it's sort of fun having a toe in show business. Eh?
What is the definition of amateur theater?
Well, amateur theater would be like the Florence Community Players.
A community theater?
Yeah, community theater is another way of saying it.
Yeah, because I was involved with two theaters in San Diego and Los Angeles, and I still direct plays every now and then. But
well, I got to swap some stories with you about doing that. I've got a really good one.
Yeah, I was literary manager of one theater, and then I had my own company that I just rented spaces out. But there was a point, like, for 3 years I was directing or producing 8 to 9 shows a year and a festival play of original plays, shows that started at 8 o'clock and then the late night shows that we'd do like at 10:30 that were more risque or like David
yes improv theater.
Well, yeah, not a lot of people come out late at night for improv unless there's nudity or something. Mm-hmm. But we did David Mamet's Sexual Perversity in Chicago. Mm-hmm. You know that play?
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar with it. I haven't read it.
We did that for years, and it was always popular, as a late night show because it's only an hour long, mm-hmm. and actors can come and go, or we'd switch roles and have the women doing the men's parts. And, sometimes the actors would do it completely in the nude, or just whatever. I wanted to do a puppet show version of it, but I never.
Yeah. That. Oh, that'd have been funny. Well, this is the whole point of being let loose to follow your creativity, right? I mean, that's probably one of the things I love best about the network and the people that make it up.
Yeah. Well, with the little theater, we didn't call it amateur theater since we did pay our actors.
Oh, indeed. Way to go.
Yeah, we even have had equity actors under special contracts.
Superb. Well, you know, the interface needs to be developed on a community level so that people, you know, don't feel isolated from entertainment.
Right. Well, the thing with theater, and the way I like directing theater and doing shows is in the round. I don't like the proscenium because in the round, the audience interacts with each other more because you could see that other person laughing across the stage, sitting in the other seats, and if you see other people laughing, it encourages you to laugh at something. If it's a comedy.
Have you seen Art Soleil up here? Have you seen Art Soleil?
No, I haven't.
And around, and it's wonderful. It's gymnastics, it's theater, it's entertainment, it's a light show, it's great props. Wonderful show if you get a chance.
Is it like Cirque du Soleil?
Yes, in fact, that's actually the name of the troupe.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen those yet?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Is that wild or what?
It's amazing. It's so intricately
choreographed, yeah. And presented, eh?
Yeah.
They have a wonderful stage that they built. I am primarily a technical director, right? So I love fancy stages with hatches that pop up and down, like Jack in the Boxes. It's great. Well, I didn't mean to get you abstracted and sidetracked.
I'm not even on a track. I'm just kind of rambling stream of consciously.
Well, you know, I like to approach radio in terms of a call-in as a guest, as a stream of consciousness event, if it's okay with everybody else, because what I want to do, I'm not so much concerned about right and wrong anymore. What I want to do is trigger thought, any kind of thought. I want to get people thinking, right?
Well, I was talking about my paranormal experiences. Have you ever had any?
Yeah, a couple. I've experienced. Both of them are quite memorable. Do you really want me to get into details about it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just before creating our daughter, and just before eloping with my first wife, we went to a little house in San Gabriel, California, because I was a motorcycle mechanic, have been for years, all kinds of motorcycles. I'm a customizer. I had custom shops and things like that. Did a lot of serious chopping on motorcycles back in the day, and cars, all kinds of stuff. But I got called in because this guy had a three-wheeler, you know, little Harley-Davidson 45 that was having a problem with its clutch. So we went there, and I fixed it, and we all used to get high. I think we dropped a tab of yellow sunshine and a jug of, remember that? Electric Kool-Aid? Remember when we used to do that?
I wasn't.
Yeah, drop a good, clean tab of actual LSD 25 instead of all of the incredible stuff that we used to run into. We used to run samples through Farm Chem laboratories in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they would, you remember Farm Chem and what a great job they did analyzing the adulterants?
I never used it.
Oh, it was good. It was one of the ways people kept from poisoning themselves during the 60s in San Francisco with, you know, bootleg stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole interesting, I got to meet the Clear Lake family. That was an interesting group. But we were there. We were going to head over to Talkwitz Canyon to see a buddy of mine that heals injured large eagles, hawks.
We're coming at the break.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you want to continue this some other time?
Yeah.
Or would you like me to follow you through?
Follow me through, but I think we're going to change on the server.
Let me call you back.
Okay, do that.
listening to Revolution Radio. We'll be right back after this short break, so stay tuned.
This is Rebecca Jernigan. Join me and my co-host Sienna Leah for Real Women Stepping Up and the Men Who Love Them. Live every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. An interactive, lively, solution-oriented show getting into what real women are about. We explore how to let go of programming to claim our authenticity and divinity. We offer in-depth information and processes for both male and female. Tune in, share, and experience right here on freedomslips.com, Thursdays, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Revolution Radio.
You don't see it, do you? How close we are to absolute chaos? The sick ones are sitting on their fat asses, eating and drink themselves into a stupor, polluting the world without a second thought while it goes down the toilet. Nobody wants to do the nasty work. You know, the shit that we all just think about. Most good citizens are just along for the ride and then bitch and moan and complain about everything when it doesn't work out. Not me. Get it done.
Revolution Radio, where we do the nasty work. www.freedomslips.com.
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. All right. Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
And we're back with The Art of Dreaming with Michael Hemmingson, your Wednesday host. Okay, this is the first time I've been on the auto server solo. So, one, I hope I'm on the air. And two, I hope I will be able to figure out how to take phone calls. Let's see here. So, a hijacker, if you want to call back in, let me see if I could answer the call. I'm having a little trouble with my computer here. I'm actually on a small HP, like one of those mini computer laptops, because I didn't bring my regular laptop down to Tijuana with me. So let me see here. Okay, where was I? We're talking about paranormal experiences, at least mine. And Hijacker was talking about his, but we didn't get to it quite. And hopefully he will return and tell us what's going on. I'm currently reading, just getting back to paranormal experiences, is Whitley Strieber's newest book, Solving the Communion Enigma, What Is to Come. And I just started reading it, so I'm not really too far into it. But I guess this is his book where he culminates all the other books he wrote. I think he wrote about 4 other ones about his experiences and his assessments, his opinions of what it all means, what he's been going through, and where things are going. What's interesting about Whitley's case is that he hasn't been in contact with the gray aliens, or in his case, I think they were tan, but the grayish kind of aliens for quite a long time. I think after his second book, Transformation, and when he left his cottage in New York, actually he lost it because no one was buying his books anymore, and his revenue as a writer vanished. His experiences started to slip more into the high weirdness category. Strange people following him, the implants, more ghostly sort of apparitions, and there's a case of the Master of the Key, which is a fascinating book about some mysterious little old man who showed up at his hotel room in Canada while he was on a book tour in the early 90s, and they had a hour-long or so conversation, and he later wrote it all down into this book, The Master of the Key, and that seems to be more in tune with what had been happening to him. Even up till now, he's not encountering the aliens anymore, but having time slips and alternate universes and time travel and seeing all kinds of strange UFOs like those dragonfly drones. Hang on. Just make sure I'm on the air. Testing. I don't have access to the chat room either, so I can't see if any. Oh, I am on the air. All right. I don't know if anyone's trying to call in. Wait a minute. Okay. I hope no one hears it. Okay. Now I'm having. All right. There we go. All right. Back to Whitley Strieber. So I've always been fascinated with Whitley Strieber. Actually, I read. I was reading his horror and science fiction stuff in the mid '80s, especially after he had that bestseller in the movie called The Woofin', and then his lesbian vampire book, The Hunger. I was working as an associate editor on a book review magazine called The Pheasant Review, which was a really nice, slick magazine that this millionaire radio station owner had started mainly as a tax break. And he had hired me because I'd been involved in the small press poetry and fiction scene, and actually had my own magazine when I was a teen. But anyway, he hired me, and we did a lot of book reviews. Anyway, one day, Galleys for Strieber's Communion came in. This was like 1987, 86 or 87, I believe. And as I started reading it, it just sounded so. A lot of the things sounded so familiar, which seemed to be the case with a lot of people, especially when they saw the alien on the cover. Seemed to trigger a lot of people's memories as well as reading his accounts. I'm not quite sure why it seemed familiar. I know there's been some alienesque encounters in my life when I was a child and younger. I'm not quite sure what they are, but I haven't tried to do the hypnosis regression on that yet. So anyway, I was just immediately drawn into the book, and since then have been following his career. When he was a regular on Art Bell, and then he took over Dreamland, which he still has. It's mostly a podcast sort of thing that he does now, and a website. But his coming out with all that, and even to the day, has been a stigmatic for his career. Difficult with family and friends. I mean, it certainly affected his book. Even though Communion wound up becoming a bestseller, his other books, which were generally also bestsellers and strong backlist books, where he was always getting royalty payments, they suddenly people stopped buying his books, and that's how he lost his cabin up in upper state New York, and he moved back to Texas or something. I think he still has his home in Texas, and he also now lives in Santa Monica because he's got a lot of film and TV projects going over there. And if you're working that much in LA, you pretty much got to get a house there in LA. Like, Strieber. Certainly would like to talk to that guy. Or Sean David Morton. Sean David Morton, you're over there in Angela's place. Can you hear me? Angela, do you got your radio on? Have Sean come on in. There's a couple things I want to ask Sean. Actually, I'm just going to say it right now. One of the things I think I want to ask Sean about is his predictions that he did a long time ago about the Chinese invading the United States, which I've been talking about for the last month since I'm down here on the border from time to time, and I have seen the Chinese troops and heard about them, and have noticed, thousands and thousands of Chinese immigrants flocking into Tijuana the past 2 years, all of them being men in their 20s and 30s, dressed up as civilians. They all seem to have a lot of money too. And Bill Brockbrader on his show on Wolf Spirit, he mentioned that he heard from his sources, I believe, that the Chinese military on the Mexican border were dressing up as civilians, and we're just waiting for things to happen when they get into uniform and start doing their thing. The other rumor I've heard is that the Chinese troops are dressed up as Mexican troops, and this is certainly a possibility because the Mexican army, the guys wear the ski masks. They wear the ski masks so they won't be identified. This way, the drug cartel guys or whatever will, if they recognize the soldiers, they could go after the family. They're more susceptible to blackmail and coercion. So with their ski masks on, you can't really tell what their nationality is. So they could be anything, and certainly in Tijuana, sometimes it's like Baghdad or something. There are tanks rolling down the street, and troop carriers, and what they like to do is like a unit with a troop carrier and maybe like a half track and maybe 20 soldiers all armed to the teeth. They'll go from one area to another and just stop and just stand there for like 5 minutes. Very, very menacing. People just get all freaked out. They're just showing their presence for publicity or telling the cartels we're here. I don't know. It could be kind of eerie. I was actually in the middle of one when they did it, and having that experience, I wasn't too freaked out, but the friends I was with, they were. Back to Sean David Martin. So Sean, I remember back in the late 90s when he was a like monthly regular on Art Bell's show. Twice he had made predictions, very fascinating predictions, that he saw through his remote viewing of the Chinese invading the United States through Mexico, up the Pacific Northwest, as well as through Cuba. And the first time he said it, he kept saying Clinton. All he saw was Clinton, that Clinton was president, and Clinton would nuke Florida to get rid of the Chinese because they would have overwhelmed Florida. And then I think on his second time he said no, it wasn't Bill Clinton but Hillary Clinton. Now at this present time they could certainly see that for any variety of reasons that Hillary could be the next president if Obama isn't on the ballot, if he gets impeached or whatever. So but ever since then, Sean hasn't talked about those predictions he had. I don't know if he sees things differently. Anyway, that's one of the things I want to ask him about, if he still sees that future, if he still sees the Chinese invasion and Hillary Clinton nuking Florida, because the Chinese, as well as being on the Mexican-American border. They're also pretty heavily in Cuba. The Chinese and Cuban militaries strengthened their ties in 2010, and there's a lot of Chinese military and Navy over there in Cuba. And what are they doing over there? It's the perfect vantage point to invade through Florida. And we're also hearing about the Russians up near Canada. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens. By interesting, I mean frightening, scary, unusual. And are the benevolent ETs going to come in and help us and save us? Actually, that I think that has been brought up to Drake. Oh, actually, Drake, the guy Drake. So for good old Drake has been out there for less than a month, and he's talked about all over the place and interviewed on a lot of radio shows, and he's always been practical and down to earth, set in reality, or maybe not so reality, with his contention that there's going to be these mass arrests done by the white hats and the Pentagon and stuff like that. And the last interview he had a couple days ago, actually people started asking him about, well, he was clones, and he said clones are unreliable and malfunction, all that stuff. But they also asked him about the reptilians, blah, 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 lizard people, right? And Drake had said, you don't want to hand-to-hand combat with a reptilian. And in fact, he said, if you see a reptilian, run back home and lock your door, because they're 8 feet tall or so, 8-9 feet tall, big and muscular, fast and telepathic. What else did they ask him about? The reptilians, and there's something else esoteric, and I can't remember now. I think they asked him about why the benevolent ETs, like the Andromeda Council and all that, haven't done anything to step in to stop all this stuff, and they're actually restricted in about how much they can interfere with free will. Do I got a telephone call here? Looked like someone was calling in. Anyway, the benevolent ETs, the good old Arcturians and Andromedans and Syrians and whatever, the Galactic Council of Light, or I don't know, various people call them by different various names. They're bound by free will and natural evolution for humanity, that they can't just come swooping in and get rid of all of our enemies and problems and do everything for us, because then we'll just become complacent and then we won't evolve and grow. But they will come in and interfere if the playing field isn't quite level, especially when it comes to nuclear weapons. They will often interfere with that and apparently have quite a bit. In fact, there's word going around the internet and intel communities that China, like 1,000 of their warheads, missiles and warheads, have just suddenly disappeared. Apparently taken by these benevolent aliens, and apparently a couple days ago, a Dolphin-class submarine leaving Germany with a Israeli crew and a antiquated hydrogen bomb that was supposed to have been decommissioned on board, and they were going to. I'm getting an internet connection problem here. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So the missile on this submarine had vanished to the benevolent ETs. And I put that quote unquote benevolent ETs had taken the bomb, or the hydrogen bomb. Apparently they were going to go off and either attack Iran, or maybe attack a U.S. vessel and blame it on Iran. A lot of people are predicting some sort of false flag event that will give Obama and the United States an excuse to start war with Iran, which will tick off the Russians and the Chinese, and probably escalate a big global nuclear showdown. And it would seem that the ETs have been interfering with nuclear weaponry for quite a while. There's certainly a lot of cases of on missile style bases of UFOs coming in and deactivating bombs or messing with the circuitry, sort of a message. And so nuclear weapons are no, and so they will get involved with that outside of the free will doctrine that they have to adhere by. I guess it's something like the Prime Directive that you see on Star Trek, and which is kind of a joke. Actually, I've written a media study book on Star Trek. It was originally for Wayne State University Press, but they weren't happy with it, so I published it with the Borgo Press back in 2009. It's called Star Trek: The Original Series, Post-Structural View. I can't remember the subtitle was, some academic thing like that. But anyway, in one of my chapters, I discuss the fallacy of the Prime Directive in the show, because they are constantly violating the Prime Directive, especially with Captain Kirk and in the original series, because Kirk is always like destroying some god of these aliens on planets, or always shattering their belief system, which was exactly what the Prime Directive tells them not to, that you don't interfere with the society's belief system and their religions, and introduced high technology to them. So here we got this Prime Directive, and Captain Kirk, along with having sexual relations with all kinds of female aliens, he constantly violates the Prime Directive. And I think I lost track of where I was going, but anyway, so the benevolent ETs are bound by that. This is why they are not coming around and solving all our problems and destroying or taking away the bad guys, as it were, even though apparently they are fighting with the lizard people, the reptilians, because it's a war that's been going on for hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years between them, ever since they were known as the Lyrians, who were some of the original colonists of the Earth. They were human beings, but they were about 30, 40 feet tall. The legends of the Titans and Greek gods come from them. So their fight with the reptoids is almost a completely different matter when it comes to their interference with human evolution. So I don't know why isn't anyone calling in? If you're trying to call in out there, I don't seem to be getting anything, as far as I can tell. I'm on the air. I'm on the auto server. I don't have access to the chat room, so I don't see any chats. I'm on a small computer that doesn't have Adobe. I tried downloading Adobe and something messed up, so I can't see the chat room. Well, anyway, we'll head onwards. Another book I'm reading is The Year's Best Science Fiction, number 16. Some great stuff. I've been reading science fiction since I was a kid, and I still read it, but I just can't write it. I don't know why I can't write it. I've tried writing science fiction. I've published a few science fiction stories, but I've never really done a novel. It's something I still need to do. Even though most of my work. Oh yeah, if you're interested in my books, all you need to do is go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble, any of the online bookstores, and put my name in. That's Michael Hemmingson, HEMMINGSON, and you'll see all the books I've been publishing since 1994. There's something like I even lost track of how many books I've published. Probably like 60 or so. There was a goal I had made that I would publish 40 books by the time I was 40, which was 5 years ago, and I did reach that goal. In fact, I exceeded that goal, but I don't have any more goals like that. Like the 50 by 50, since I've already reached 50 anyway. Paul, oh, look at this. Looks like someone is calling in. How do I... Oh, we're on a break. So, we'll come back with The Art of Dreaming, Michael Hemmingson.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio. We'll be right back after this short break, so stay tuned.
Detroit is front and center.
Without excuses, without hostility, without shame, and without blame.
Detroit is front and center.
Yes, the Fleming team is on the scene with a depth of insight that might make you scream.
Detroit is front and center.
We're here to share. We're blunt but fair. So step into our lair if you dare.
Detroit is front and center.
Wednesdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Revolutionary Radio at freedomslips.com.
Detroit is front and center.
Worldwide Internet Radio. Join us here weekdays for our new daytime schedule here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. At 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Deacon John brings you the Libertarian Hour, directly followed by Francis Walsh at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Impact Zone. Immediately following that, it's At This Moment with Angela Black and Peter Petrov. Join us weekdays here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Wait, do you guys hear that? Wait, yeah, it's the truth. Yeah, you're listening to The Truth here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Here we go.
Watch out!
Hi, this is What I Am. I'm the host of the Urban Revolution Show here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. My beautiful co-host is Miss Debbie. Urban Revolution is on Tuesdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Urban Revolution, we cover issues and topics that are near and dear to the urban communities. We drop the walls and give you grassroots opinions on a given subject without worrying about political correctness. We welcome your calls and hope that you'll be as free and sincere when you do call in. Join me, What I Am, and my co-host Miss Debbie on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
And we're back with The Art of Dreaming with your solo host, Michael Hemmingson. I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, I did try to get Anya Briggs. Last week I interviewed Anya Briggs and it seemed to go over pretty well. She had some fascinating stories. So much so that I'll need to bring her back on because there were a number of things that I know about that we didn't get around to talking about. maybe next week. In fact, I have a number of people in the Black Ops Super Soldier sector that will eventually be coming on as we work out the schedule. That would be Anya, and maybe next week I'll have this guy James Rink, who claims to have been in the Super Soldier program, and that he's got nanites in his system and metal bones and stuff like that. Now, you have to admit that some of these super soldier claims are really out there. So you don't know if they've been mind controlled, programmed to say these things as a disinformation project. If they were actually in these programs and just had like strange screen memories placed in that will make them sound insane if they start talking about the truth. If they're just liars and they're just playing a game, almost like they're playing some sort of role playing adventure, or if they're just nuts, and you have to just I guess decide for yourself as you listen to them. The numbers of the ones I've listened to, I have pretty convinced that some of them are just BSing, and some of them are crazy. On the other hand, some of them are very sincere, and they certainly believe in what they're saying. And the gamut of them is all up and down and fascinating. Like, for instance, there's this one guy, and I wish I could get him on, but I don't think he does interviews anymore. Is James Casbolt, otherwise also known as Michael Prince. He's a British guy in his late 30s now, but he's now living in the U.S. But his story of being a genetically enhanced super soldier for MI6 and the NSA is a pretty wild one, because he's got time travel, and he went back to 17th century in France and got into some sort of sword fight with some sort of a count or marquis or something like that, and got his head chopped off, and they had to bring his head and body back to present time and reconnect him, and it somehow is connected in some strange way with that robotic head that has been seen on Mars, not Mars, but the moon, that Richard Hoagland uncovered in some photos about 10 years ago or so. I don't know if that's supposed to be James Casbolt's head or what, but from what I've read, there's some strange connection. Casbolt also claims that he's got metal alloy bones made out of steel from the rings of Saturn, and certainly that brings up the interesting points of what's going on with the rings of Saturn lately. Apparently, some objects are giant, 2-mile long objects or whatever, are punching holes in the rings of Saturn. And there's also that book, The Ringmakers of Saturn, and a lot of telescope photos and satellite photos have revealed these 10, 20-mile long cigar-shaped ships who seem to be creating either they're creating or they're mining the rings of Saturn or something like that. So who knows? So James Casbolt may have metal, steel, alloy bones made from the rings of Saturn. Who am I to say? Another one of these guys who has an interesting story is Aaron McCollum. Kerry Cassidy did 2 or 3 interviews with him. And he's a guy, late 20s, early 30s, who had been in the Coast Guard in Southern California and was recruited into the Black Ops projects, mainly because of his genetics. He claims that he's a product of gene splicing experiments, that he's got dolphin DNA and alien DNA in his makeup, and Apparently, he also worked with Casbolt. They'd been on some missions together. That Anya Briggs claimed that they had an argument about whether they should abduct her or not at one point while they were both up inside a TR-3B. The TR-3B being those triangular shaped ships, not the big giant black ones. The TR-3Bs and TR-3As and whatever, how many there are these nuclear powered triangle vessels about the size of like a jumbo jet, fairly big ships, and they certainly I've seen something like that. I've seen both the huge, mile long floating quiet black ones to the smaller TR-3B type of ships. So anyway, Aaron McCollum, get back to him. Another fascinating case. In his interviews with Kerry Cassidy, he was talking about the Project Seagate. Project Seagate was or is in these underwater bases, in these laboratories. They were experimenting with splicing human genes with just about anything. Sharks, squids, octopus, of course dolphins, and apparently they just come up with all kinds of aberrations. And McCollum also talked a lot about there was a Stargate or wormhole in the Gulf of Aden, and that various ETs, more on the negative side, were coming in and out of this Stargate, and that's why the whole the blockade of the Somalian pirates occurred, where you had all these naval ships from various countries moving into the area to quote unquote stop the Somali pirates, which seemed a little strange in that way, because the Coast Guard could take care of that. You don't need aircraft carriers and destroyers and submarines to stop a bunch of bands of pirates with rifles and RPGs. You don't need a full naval force. So McCollum's contention was that all these naval fleets were moving in to either monitor the ships coming in and out of the. And I believe I'm back on the air. I had to switch from my laptop to my iPhone here, as I'm still trying to figure this out. Sorry about that, folks. Whoever's listening out there, you could hear me trying to figure out what I'm doing here, and I'm still not even sure if I'm on the air. This isn't working. Say hello. Hello. Well, the auto server has called me back, but hang on. Let me try something here.
How you found me out, I still don't understand. It's the thoughts you can take with you when you go. You spread out your arms in the colors of your love. I didn't know. Orange is for the vineyards, blue is for the river. Green is like a hillside coming down. White is not surrender, despite what you've been told. The clouds of hope. Fall on me now. Say now. Fall on me now. Say One time we met, you were outside, floating in the forest. I placed all my problems on your hands. You took a look around me and showed me all the ones whom you love. Fall all on me now. Say now. Fall on me now. Say now. To see you cry, lying there in that position. There's things you need to hear, so turn off your tears and listen. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. Fear is a friend who's misunderstood, but I know the heart of life is good. It's nothing new. Bad news never has good timing. Then the circle of your friends will defend the silver lining. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. Fear is a friend who's misunderstood, but I know the heart of life is good. Throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. Fear is a friend who's misunderstood, but I know the heart of life is good.
And I may or... Hello? I hear myself. Okay, this is just getting too weird. I think that the problem is if I'm on air, the problem is my internet connection, and I thought I heard someone else in the background. Well, folks, if I'm on the air, I'm really sorry about this. I'm down in Tijuana, and my internet connection on both the computer and the phone are acting very strange. So what I'm going to do is try something else, and hopefully it'll work after the break and get myself back on a different way. I have no idea if I'm talking to anyone or myself or what's going on. I know that there's just thousands of you out there wondering, what is going on here? What has Hemmingson done? I guess it was a good thing that I didn't have a guest today, because that would have been really bad. I should have stayed on Rebecca's, not Rebecca, Angela's line. Let's see here.
There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I can sing, but I can try for your heart. Our dreams, they are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs, a savior tone of loving. Well, love is the answer, at least for most of the questions in my heart. Like why we're here and where do we go and how come it's so hard. It's not always easy and sometimes life can be deceiving. I'll tell you one thing, it's better when we're together now. Oh, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at the stars when we're together now. Oh, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
All right, folks, we're back on the air. This is Nighthawk. I don't know what happened to Mike Hemmingson.
Know that they'll be gone when the morning light sings and brings new things. And tomorrow night you'll see that they'll be gone too.
All right, we're back. Waiting for Mike to answer. Got Justin. Let's go. SJ. I don't know what's going on.
Well, the normal under the bus.
I would like to remind any of the newer hosts that if you say hello to the auto server, it will not answer back. It's just a computer.
It won't say hello back?
Well, Hawk's had some good conversations with it.
I'm sure he has.
Yeah, but I can actually smack the thing around. It's 2 foot away from it.
Uh-oh, computer abuse.
Yeah. We got you back, Michael.
Mike, are you there? Okay, well, anyway. I was thinking AMAD was doing production for him, so.
No, he sort of sailed onto it on the back of Angela's show.
Do what?
He hitchhiked on Angela's connection and then tried his own.
Oh, it don't work like that.
Oh, see, there's a new lesson learned, because on the half hour they decided to hang up and he'd try himself.
Yeah. I asked him to change the differential oil while he's under the bus.
There you go. His internet connection is, I'm sure you've seen it on Skype, when somebody comes on, a little pop-up says they're online. Well, his,
yep.
He pops up and goes away, up, goes away, up, goes away, up, goes away. So I think they're having what the hell's going on in Tijuana?
Oh, maybe
well, we've been trying to figure that out.
Chinese are cutting all the lines. Who knows?
I guess. Does Mike live in Tijuana, or they're just really good hookers down there?
I think he's got a child down there, and he's visiting the child, and he's a reporter.
Oh, okay.
Also, he's a reporter, a journalist, and yeah, I looked everywhere online. You talked about earlier this morning. You saw something about from Israel, from Britain, from paratroopers.
I didn't see that online. I got a call.
Oh.
Phone call.
I got you.
That's all I was saying. I can't find anything online to verify it because, I get weird phone calls sometimes.
Really? Do tell. Got any good death threats lately?
No.
We used to figure. Go ahead.
310. That must be RBN. Sorry. Area code 310. You're on there.
It's me, Mike.
Hey, Mike. What's up?
My internet connection